Today we're doing 3.3, the distributive property. Please pull out your red pen and fill in those first two blanks of your notes. What this tells us is the number that comes outside the parentheses will always be multiplied by every single thing that's inside the parentheses. What this is saying, out of this, what's the number that's, or the letter that's outside? A. The A. So we're going to take the A, use your red pen. We'll multiply it by that first letter, the B. But we also need to multiply it by the C. So take your red pen and also move it over there. What this means, A times B, is known as AB. Then I've got a positive A times a positive C. So that would be known as positive A times C. The instructions for today ask us to simplify the expression. Simplify means to make it more simple. So let's look to see first off, is there any work inside the parentheses that I need to combine together?
Yes, no.
No, those are not like terms, so I cannot combine anything. Is there a number that's on the outside that I need to multiply by everything on the inside?
5.
Yes, so I'm going to use my distributive property. The way that you show me you understand that, you're going to take your pencil and put an arrow to all terms that are inside the parentheses. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the positive 5 and multiply it times the positive 2x. Then I'm going to take the positive 5 and multiply it times the positive 5. Remember, you want your notes to look just like mine. So a few people have asked me today if I am allowed to multiply a number times a variable term. The answer is yes. You are going to multiply the numbers and then keep whatever family they are in. So what's 5 times 2? 10. And what x? We are in the x family. Very good. So that would be known as 10x. All right, because 5 times 2 is 10, and that's the x family. Plus, what's 5 times 5? 25. Now, am I allowed to combine those and turn it into 35x?
No.
Why not?
Because it's not like terms.
They are not like terms. They are in two separate families. I've got the variable term, and then I have the constants. You cannot combine them together because they are two separate families. Let's go to the next one, problem B. Is there any work that I need to do inside of my parentheses? No, there's no terms that can be mushed together. Instead, I do have a number on the outside. What do I need to do with that 3?
Multiply it by the 4y and 2.
Multiply it by everything that is inside. So show me the work. Tonight on your homework, I want to see these little arrows on the original problem. That positive 3 is getting multiplied first by what? By 4y. And now the positive 3 is getting multiplied by what?
2.
A positive 2. Ava, what is 3 times 4y? 12y. Hayden, what is 3 times 2? 6. So my correct answer is 12y plus 6. Remember, in between each of your terms, you must have a plus or a minus sign. Are there any questions on what we did for the first two problems? All right, let's move on to the next ones. Problem C. This one looks a little different, but it's still pretty similar. Matthew, do I need to combine anything inside the parentheses? No. Is there anything on the outside of parentheses that I need to distribute? Which number? What's the number that's outside the parentheses? -4. Okay, guys, remember that little saying we've said a few times? Every number has a sign, and that sign is directly in front of that number. Okay, so Matthew, looking at this, how many x's do you see there? There's only one. I would like you guys to put a little 1 right there to help us understand and remember the coefficient, or the number that goes with that x, is a 1. Now we're going to multiply the -4 times the first term, and we will multiply the -4 times the second term. First thing, Matthew, what should I write for this first term right here? Okay, -4 times 1x. Very good. Now I'm going to continue with this number on the outside, -4. Everybody write -4. And then we're going to multiply it times the second term, +6. Matthew, do this for us working from left to right. What is negative 4 times 1x? Correct. Negative 4x. And what is negative 4 times positive 6? Negative 24 is correct. And there is no way that I can combine those terms because one's a variable term and one is a constant. Very good. Let's go on for the next one. Is there any work I can do on the inside, class? No. So right now we are going to take the outside negative 1/3 and multiply it times every term on the inside. First things first, negative 1/3, multiply it times what, class?
3n.
3n. Now what I like to do is put it over a 1 just to make it look like a fraction. Next, what two terms am I multiplying together?
Negative 1/3 times 6.
Okay, and I could put the 6 over a 1. Is that just a regular 6?
No, negative.
It's a negative 6, so let's make sure that we keep that negative sign there also. Let's start working from left to right. Is there anything I can cross-reduce on that first set of fractions? The 3 and the 3. Jalen, what do they become? They both become 1s. Jalen, let's focus on this first part. You're doing a negative times a positive. Is your answer going to be negative or positive? It will be negative. Very good. And what would negative 1 over 1 times 1n over 1 be, Jalen? All right, we already know that it's negative, but the correct answer would be a negative 1n. Very good. Now, Jalen, do this part for us. It's a negative and another negative. So is my answer going to be positive or negative? Okay, if I have two negatives, the answer has to be positive. Is there anything I can cross-reduce? 6 and 3, what do they become?
The 3 comes a 1 and the 6 comes a 2.
Very good. Now, will you multiply this out? We already know a negative times a negative is a positive, but what number did you get? 2. To make yourself look even smarter, we will eliminate that 1 there because we can understand. So underneath it, I'd like you guys to write negative n plus 2. Talila, is there anything that I can do inside of my parentheses? Can I combine? Okay, add a 1 to the n. I like it. Very good. And I cannot combine it. Very good. Is there anything on the outside I need to distribute? Okay, so we've got to make sure we do those little arrows showing that we are distributing it to all the terms, okay? So we do that negative 1.5 first, and you're multiplying it times what? 8m. And then we've got the negative 1.5 again, and what am I multiplying that one by, Talila? Negative 1n. Very good. Now, we've never really learned our 1.5 times tables, so this is when you're just going to go off to the side, 1.5, and multiply it times 8. Talila, what's 1.5 times 8? Okay, very good, 12.0. So as we bring this back up here, you are doing a negative times a positive, so your answer has to be, if I have one negative, it would be a negative, and then you already found out that it's a 12, and what family was that in? The M family. Very good. So that was just finding that part. Now let's move on to do the second part right here. Negative times a negative. Talila, what's my answer going to be, a positive or a negative? It has to be a positive. And now we're going to multiply 1.5 times 1n. What do you get? And what family is that in? N. Can I combine those terms? No. One's the M family and one's the N family, so we cannot combine those terms. Noah, is there anything I can combine in the x plus 9 parentheses? No. How many x's do you see there? 1. So let's put a 1 there. Is there anything on the outside I need to distribute? Negative 1 is correct. So we will use our arrows to show us we understand that negative 1 has to get multiplied by everything on the inside. The negative 1 is getting multiplied first by what? 1 what? 1x. And now the negative 1 is getting multiplied by 9. All right, Noah, let's start from left to right. Negative 1 times 1x. Negative 1x. And then what is negative 1 times positive 9? Negative 9. And then to make yourself look extra smart, we're going to let that 1 become imaginary. And what are you left with? Minus. Very good. All right, a really important idea that we want to know is to combine the like terms before using the distributive property. So I've been asking you a few times, is there anything we need to do inside the parentheses?
Yes.
Well, finally, the answer is going to be yes. You could see there are some like terms here. I've got some constants, and then I have just the variable term. If you would, underline and circle those like terms for me, please. Now we'll drop down the negative 3, which is on the outside. What should I do first, my variable term or my constant?
Your variable term.
We always do the variable term first. So what is my variable term?
2x.
Let's drop down the 2x. Next, we're going to combine those constants that we underlined. What's negative 1 plus 7?
Negative 6.
Positive 6. Okay, because we subtract and then take the sign of the larger number, which was a positive. Now, is there anything I can combine inside my parentheses?
No.
No, there is not. Is there anything I need to distribute on the outside?
Yes.
What should I distribute?
3.
Negative 3. Okay, so the question was asked, will we always have to show the work? At this point, no. I feel like I've taught you enough to understand how to do it. So now let's see if we can do some of this in our head instead of writing down every single step. Class, what's negative 3 times positive 2x? Negative 6x. So let's write that down. Now we take this first term that's on the outside and multiply it by the second term in parentheses. What's negative 3 times positive 6? Negative 18. So at this point, no, you do not have to show me what you're multiplying, because I think if you show me those arrows, that shows me that I understand what you're doing. Okay, let's go to the next one. Brayden, is there anything I need to combine inside my parentheses? Yes, so we're going to underline the constants and we're going to circle the variable term. Now we'll drop down the 2. Brayden, should I bring down the variable term first or the constant? Variable term. And then, Brayden, what is 4 minus 3? Okay, is that a positive or a negative one? Very good. Listen, on homework assignments, I've seen some people leave it just like this. What's wrong with that? I need the plus sign there. There has to be a plus or a minus in between each and every term, showing me whether I'm adding it or subtracting it. All right, now we will distribute that 2. Einar, what's 2 times 3y?
6y.
And then what do I do? Very good, plus 2. Can I combine those terms?
Oh, no.
No, why not?
Because they're not the same.
They're not like terms. One's a variable term and one's a constant, so I cannot combine those. Another problem, a little different because this one now has a fraction, okay? Huang, is there anything that I can simplify inside the parentheses? Very good. A and negative 2a. So I want us to put a 1 here just so we understand that. And then we've also got the negative 4. Drop down your negative 3 halves. Huang, what is 1a minus 2a? Negative 1a is correct. And bring down your minus 4. Because this is with a fraction, I am going to have us show the steps of what it is that we're doing. So first off, we're doing negative 3 halves times negative 1a. Then we have negative 3 halves and multiply it by what? Negative 4, and you're right, we could put that over a 1. Amira, this first one, a negative times a negative will equal a A positive. So I know that's going to be a positive. What's 3/2 times 1A?
Positive 3/2 A.
You are correct. Normally, we do not keep things that are improper. However, it started off improper, so you are allowed to keep it improper because it started that way. Next, negative times a negative, just the boys. What will my answer be, negative or positive? It will be a positive. Isaac, is there anything I can cross-reduce? All right, we'll cross-reduce the 2 and the 4. Hayden, what do they become? 1 and 2. Jalen, now we're going to multiply that out. What do you get when you multiply that out? We know it's going to be a positive. 6 is correct. And that's your final answer. The next one, we have another fraction, but this fraction is actually my favorite fraction. So let's talk about a half, okay? If I say, what's a half of 10? You would tell me 5. If I say, what's a half of 20? You would tell me. If I say, what's a half of 100? You would say 50. So the cool thing is, when you multiply something times a half, you're just cutting it in half, all right? So we'll use that here in just a second. All right, do I need to distribute anything? Yes. What do I have to distribute? The negative 1/2. Everybody use your arrows. Should I also distribute the negative half over here to the 2n? No, why not?
Because
it's not in my parentheses. So because it's not in my parentheses, I don't want to multiply that out, okay? All right, so the first one, a negative times a positive will equal a negative. So let's put our negative sign. And what is half of 6n? 3n. Now we have a negative times a positive. My answer is going to be negative. And what is half of 4? 2. What should I do with this plus 2n?
bring it down.
Let's just drop it down. Am I finished? No. Why am I not finished? We have to combine our like terms. What do we get when we do negative 3n plus 2n? Negative 1n, and then bring down your minus 2. To make yourself look extra smart, we're going to get rid of that 1, and my final answer is what? Negative n minus 2. For the final problem of the day, do I have any work to do inside the parentheses?
No.
I do not. Do I have anything outside to distribute?
Yes.
What needs to be distributed?
-1.5.
The negative 1.5. So we'll take this and distribute. Remember, when you show me that, the way you show work is to use the arrows. Trenton, what should I do to the 3.5m? Very good. We're going to just bring it down. Notice I did not need to distribute this backwards because it's not inside of my parentheses. Now we have to multiply this out. Negative 1.5 times what?
1m.
1m. We could put a little m there if we want, a little 1. Now I have to multiply something else out. What else do I multiply out?
Your -10.
Times what, though?
Your -1.5.
Negative 1.5 times negative 10. All right, so then we're going to drop this down, 3.5m. Class, what is negative 1.5 times 1m? Negative 1.5m. Next, we have negative 1.5 times negative 10. The answer is going to be what? Positive or negative?
Positive.
Has to be a positive. If you don't know this already in your head, off to the side, you're allowed to work it out. When you do that, what'd you get?
15.0.
15.0. Okay, so here's the thing. When you have something like this, if you're multiplying it times 10, you just move the decimal point one place over. Okay, so 15.0 or plus 15. Ava, can I combine any other like terms?
Yes, the 3.5
Excellent. 3.5 minus 1.5. If you don't know it in your head, do it off to the side, please. And class, read to me, what is my answer?
2.5.
Not 2.5. 2.0, which is just 2m. And bring down what?
The negative.
Not negative.
The plus 1, 15.
Plus 15. All right, that is how the distributive property works. Tonight there is homework. I don't normally give it on Wednesday nights, but because I don't want you to have homework the night before your project is due, we are going to be doing 3.3 tonight, and it is due tomorrow.